Hello, this is Jcamera here, and today I am finally going to be reviewing the set that I've wanted to review the most for a while anyway. Lego Batman 2006 7783, The Batcave, The Penguin and Mr. Freeze's Invasion, released in 2006, containing 1,075 pieces, 3 vehicles and the Batcave itself, and 7 minifigures plus 3 penguin minions. The set originally cost $90 in US money, and in the original theme from 2006 to 2008, and really all the sets in 2012, this was the biggest of the Batman and DC sets, until 2013's Arkham Asylum, but that's the DC theme of the Batman theme. But anyway, so with the other Batman set reviews, they have all had the box with them. When I got this set, I didn't have the box. I have the instructions, though, so I can take a look at them. The box would have looked like something like this on the front. I can at least tell you that. It comes with 2 books, because the set is that big. And the size of them, I was surprised to be this huge. You have to flip them over this way instead of... Well, I don't want to ruin it, so... We have the minifigures and the buildable accessories and such. The 3 vehicles from smallest to largest. The classic bat symbol up above. Then we have the main section of the Batcave that connects the rest of it together. And finishing that section off ends the first booklet on basically a cliffhanger. And then booklet 2. If I can, goes with all the other sections of the Batcave with the same blue and stuff. Here's the set all together that barely fits through all of them. Then we have all the play features, which I will show you, of course, during the review. That's part of the point. Here are the alternate builds. There's 2. This one here is mediocre. I like this Penguin and Mr. Freeze build and kind of the Robin one. And I like that the Batman has a sword and shield, but that's all that I like. Oh yeah, and the guns I like, but I don't really like anything else, I'll be honest. This one here, I think, is a little better. I kind of like this, or at least bits and pieces of it. I don't really like the fact that these screens are up there, and I don't like the Bat Rocket, but here are all the pieces, and the set that I have was missing some pieces, and even stickers, and you can obviously tell which ones were. And here is the advertisement for all the sets at the time. I have finally reviewed all of them with this one. Reviewed the Dragster first, then the Batboat with Killer Croc, then the Batmobile set, and then the Batwing set. And now, finally, this set. And if you take a close look, it actually has some changes from the final version. Like, the stickers are slightly bigger in this set, and has 2 lights instead of 4, has 3 penguin minions instead of 2, and even the Batman figure's different. The yellow or gold on the logo is gone. And as far as I can tell, that's all the differences of the set. And then we have Lego Cloth stuff that I do not care about in the slightest. And then there's the UCS Batmobile set 7784, which is the set that released after it. And to get an idea on how big the set is, it barely fits on my desk that I reviewed. And I was considering moving to a bigger desk in the house in where I live, but this one, thankfully, I managed to work it out, though. Just barely, like it's right on the edge. So, we shall start by taking a look at the minifigures. The first minifigure is, of course, Batman, the black suit one, based on Michael Keaton's Batman and Batman 89 and Batman Returns. This minifigure is not exclusive to the set and appears in two others, the Batmobile set, which I've already reviewed, and Arkham Asylum from the same year. He does also appear in a couple other promos, but I'm not going to even think about touching them. The minifigure has no back printing, and originally it would have a soft cape, but I gave mine I gave him a soft cape, but originally he would have one of the hard ones that would easily get ruined if you put him in a vehicle or anything. Because these ones are much better and don't get ruined, or at least not nearly as easily, I decided to replace it. And also, he has no head printing, and this is what he looks like without the helmet on. The rest of the minifigures, besides Batman, may not be exclusive, but at least first debut in this set. This is Bruce Wayne, the alter ego of Batman. He is exclusive in this set, but his pieces are not. And I actually have most of the pieces to make him, even without the set. Besides the torso. I don't have that anywhere else in my collection. He's wearing a blue suit, which is unusual. He usually wears a black suit with a red bow tie, or a black one. I would have liked them to make a brown and yellow one, like in the animated series. That's my favorite design, or most unique one for Bruce Wayne. He has no back printing and nothing on his head, and has the generic face and hair from the time, especially the hair is generic. I do like this minifigure though. Easy to make, and very simplistic, but it didn't have to be complex. Next, we have Batman's loyal butler, Alfred Pennyworth, who is exclusive to the set, and besides the legs, arms, and hands, cannot be made from pieces from other sets, like Bruce Wayne. And he is the best minifigure of the set, in my opinion. I mean, he has head printing. How many minifigures can say that? And side printing. Again, how many can say that? Like, many minifigures have head printing on the back, but not many, if any, at all, have any on the sides. And his torso's also really good. What Alfred usually wears of the bow tie, this time in blue, probably to match with Bruce Wayne, and the black and grey suit. This is so good that LEGO didn't even make another one until 2016, which was 10 years later, and it was of the 60s version. And the one after that was the LEGO Batman movie one. Next, we have the most famous sidekick from superheroes, Robin himself. I don't know which version of Robin this is supposed to be. Maybe it's Tim Drake. It could be Dick Grayson or Jason Todd. Maybe even Damian Wayne. It could be any of the Robins, let's be honest. But the cape is the old cape, unfortunately, but that's because I don't have a replacement of a yellow cape. He has no back printing, just like all of the minifigures, actually. Well, Alfred has head printing, but not back printing. I do like that he doesn't have any, like, human flesh showing in the arms and legs, making him look more cool. And I like that his hands are black to make him look cooler. And he has no head printing. This is the Robin in the video game, and I'm glad to finally get it, so I can have him alongside the video game Batman beating up other video game villains. This Robin, besides the hairpiece, is not exclusive and appears in one more set, but only one more. The hair can also be found in other sets, but I cannot name any on the top of my head. I mean, I guess technically he's exclusive, but it's debatable. I do wish that his cape was dual-colored, like this side was black and then this side was yellow, and I wish his mask was black too. Then he would have resembled the Batman Forever Robin. Probably one of the better Robin designs, in my opinion. Now we get into the villains of the set, starting with the Penguin, who is the only minifigure in the entire theme to have short legs, which is fitting for his character. He has no head or back printing once more, and has a top hat rather than any hair. His monocle isn't see-through, but personally I'm fine with that. In fact, it looks cool, despite his face looking very 2006. And he's a very colourful minifigure, surprisingly. Like, he could give Joker the run for his money. And his torso is basically a reskin of Alfred's, but more colourful. Instead of blue and grey, it's orange and purple. He has white hands that surprisingly not many figures in a theme have. Only one other figure does. And it's not even from a set I've reviewed yet. Not exclusive of a set, appears in another set alongside Robin. I don't usually give minifigures their accessories, but I think with Mr. Freeze it has to be an exception because the plug connects to him and it wouldn't look right. He doesn't really look right without it. Or at least the gun doesn't look right without him with it. In my opinion, anyway. I may as well talk about the gun. It has a white tube, which is cute. That original blaster piece that I think Boba Fett might have had. I could be wrong, though. And icy pieces to make it freeze his gun. He has no back printing. Though it is covered up by a jetpack, he's probably the closest character to having any back printing on the torso. And you can only put the gun on his right side because of how it's connected. And you can actually see a bit of red when you line this up to his goggle eye. His red eye goggles. You can take it off if you really want to. And he still looks cool without it. This piece was used in 2001 and 2002 Alien sets or Life on Mars sets. I don't know. I remember these being used anyway, but in green. And I even saw one of these pieces in blue. Fits Mr. Freeze. This figure does remind me of the Batman and Robin one, or at least with the helmet. Otherwise, it'd be, I'd say, almost the animated series brought into the 2006 Lego style. Because Lego's come a long way. He has a cool animated series head. Oh god. I made a horrible pun. He has no printing at all underneath that, making him a kind of a basic torso figure, and exactly the same torso as the next figure. I do like the detailing on what's on top of him. I don't know what it's called. Well, it's not on the top of my head anyway. Sorry for that interruption. So this figure isn't exclusive either, but This was the first appearance of him, and in my opinion, this is the best figure of him to date. Though, the 2013 one is a very close second. The final of the actual minifigures, and definitely the least, unfortunately, is Mr. Freeze's Henchman, or the Penguin's goon from the video game. Just swap out the hands and it would be exactly the same as the game. You could make it either one of them, but I think it's supposed to be Mr. Freeze's because of the torso, and from everywhere it's seen in besides the video game, it's called Mr. Freeze's Henchman. The original boxes don't give them names or even the instructions, which I wish they still did, but anyway, nothing on the torso, same torso as Mr. Freeze, no head printing, nothing on his head. Exactly the same goon from, well, it's mostly the same as the Two-Face Henchman and Joker Henchman from other sets, except that he's got the blue torso and arms, and black hands, probably gloves or maybe even fisticuffs. Probably to keep them warm, or armor. I don't know, but he's just there. I do like army building though, so there's that. Oh yeah, and he also appears nowhere else. He is exclusive. The head is quite common though, as well as the beanie. These are technically not minifigures, but personally, I've always counted them. These are penguin minions, probably robot penguin minions. They could just be real-life penguins that have been mind-controlled, though. But I think they're more likely robot penguin minions, because how many can hold a gun? Anyway, I really like these builds. I think they're better than the new ones, if you ask me. There's 3 of them in the set. I'm glad they made more than one to have bigger army for Penguin. I'm glad they included them, so it might be more obvious that the other henchman is for Mr. Freeze. They're a bit silly, but I still enjoy them. As far as accessories go, we have 3 of the standard handheld batarangs, which still appear in today's sets, and just like most of the sets in the original theme, there are 3. There are 2 of the spinning batarangs that you can put onto the Tommy gun. We have the handcuffs that you can use on the bad guys, or to capture one of the good guys. You have a generic handgun that either the Penguin or the Henchman can use. The Tommy gun, which, if you really wanted to, the Penguin could, but you're supposed to have the Henchman of Freeze to have it, because the Penguin wouldn't be able to lift it. Anyway, we have the umbrella for the Penguin, which is 2 pieces, and is very easy to make, and it's probably likely that you'll already have the pieces by the time you have the set. And then we have Alfred's serving tray with some cups and wine for our heroes dynamic duo. I also had a spare bat piece, so I can have the spat flying around in the Batcave, though it doesn't really matter, because I already have plenty of spare bat pieces, like, at least 5, if I'm correct. Probably more than that. And that's excluding the sets that I've reviewed. There is one more accessory, easily the biggest, and I don't think it'll fit with my other accessories, but this is Mr. Freeze's ice block that you can make him freeze others in. This is made by only 3 pieces, and these 2 pieces are very rare, maybe even exclusive, and are not even used anymore. I don't know why they're very snowy, but I will admit they do look cool. You can fit in any generic figure, like I can place Alfred in here, and then you can place it in like that, and then you can just rip it out like that quite easily. You can fit in other figures, like you can fit in Batman, if I can, there. You can fit in Batman in there just fine, but it will ruin his cape, just a warning. You can't fit any figures with accessories, however, so Mr. Freeze himself, you cannot make him somehow freeze himself. Now we move on to the vehicles, and we're past the 20-minute point. That's how much this set has to offer, though it could be because I talk too much. Anyway, we have the smallest of the vehicles, Robin's jet ski. Not much to say. Has the Boba Fett gun piece, goes pew pew, and that's all it does. It has a leather piece. It is very colorful and very Robin-esque. You can stand Robin up. You be careful about the cape though, it will ruin it. And you can also sit him down. Next, we have the Penguin's submarine, or with the game, it's the Penguin Goon's submarine, because Penguin gets another submarine in a set, and it's bigger, so that one is apparently the true submarine. Surprisingly a lot bigger than Robin's jet ski, or at least that's just me, because I thought this would have been smaller, personally. You can move this right, left, as long as it's not hinged. And then you can also lift this up, like, really up. So, like, pretending it's underwater, and it's out to sea. And then when it's up above, it can lower down. And it can also go pew-pew with your imagination. You can also rotate these pieces. This goes on both sides. You have the U98 sticker on both sides. The window pieces that are just stickers and you cannot see through them. The beaks for the penguin minions on there. The turbine you can move, and this you can move. Penguin you can put on here. Lift his arms up just a bit, though. And you can have him holding an accessory. And you can lift these down, and the control panels are right there. And you can fit in the penguin in there just fine, and then enclose it. If I can just... I haven't placed him on any... Yeah, you can fit him in just fine. I don't think you could fit in... You can fit in Bruce Wayne alone, sitting, if you really wanted to, but you cannot have him standing up. He'd be too big. I do kind of like this submarine. I mean, I would maybe like for it to be a little bigger, so for minifigure's sake, but I also kind of like it's small. So I think the size is both a pro and a con in this case. As far as my thoughts on the vehicle, it's good enough, I guess. Not bad, but not my favorite either. The final of the vehicles is the Batblade, and the only one that isn't in the video game. You can move these up and down, and it has the exact same exhaust as the Batmobile. And you have the same cockpit as the Dragster, that once again easily comes off, so you want to be careful. Same control panel as the Batcopter. No, not the Batcopter, the Scarecrow plane. That set actually appears later in the theme, but I've already reviewed it. You have the machine guns, 2 of them, like the Dragster. You have these that can lift up and down. And yeah, the pew pew over here and some lights. And these, because this is supposed to be the bat sled, or people call it, I think people call it the bat sled, or is it, I don't know. I want to call it the bat hammer, because it's based on the vehicle that George Clooney rides in the finale of the movie that we don't talk about. This vehicle is probably the best out of them, and definitely one of the more unique vehicles in the line. And we finally made it to the Batcave, and we're already past the 25-minute mark, and I can't really think of any LEGO video that's been nearly this long. Anyway, let's start with this section. You can move this with the vehicles, so we'll put in the bat hammer, and then it will get stuck because you have to lower down the lights. Yeah, these are made, you can lift them up and make sure this is like still, semi-still anyway, or if there's nothing on it, or whatever's on it isn't big enough to get stuck. You also have lights here, and you can also lift this up a little bit, but it isn't really made to. And the Batblade is only really here in a set, so you can test this. So this is really made for the Batmobile and other vehicles. In fact, why don't we test it out? The dragster fits in just fine. And this does not get stuck. Here's the Batboat, which has its own area, which I'll get to later, but this one doesn't get stuck. Here's the Batmobile, and it barely fits. Surprisingly, I thought it would have fit just fine, but it fits. It's very loose, though. I have to admit it. Okay, does it get stuck? If you lower down the light, actually, let me just heighten up the lights there. I want to see how it does. Nope. The Batwing is the only vehicle I think that cannot fit in here, which is why they actually gave it its own stand, which I will bring in later. And this bit here you also can take out like this, and it can connect to right here. It can also connect to here, which I'll show in a minute. And it just has one plug. And this can also disconnect. And to connect it from wherever this isn't, like here or here. Both of these connect wherever this isn't, because, yeah, that can't move. I'm still gonna leave it here, though. So this is section 1. Love that section. Even if it takes up a fair amount of space. And here's this section, the small. So it's just a walk path between this and this, what connects the both together. This is a tool rack to fix up the vehicles. If you really want them to, they can be more Batman accessories, like maybe one of them could be explosive gel, or I don't know, whatever you want them to be. And these white bits have to connect from there, and this has to connect from that. If you really want to, you actually could just do that, or like this, if you really want to, but it looks better with this. Now, the main 3 sections, so you have to take this off, which you can do. So, here's the bay, which is where you're supposed to store the bat boat, if you were to, like, I don't know, store the entire Batman universe here, or all the sets here, combine them together. Here's a canister to fuel the bat boat. Here's a brown Lego rat, which doesn't have to be here, can go anywhere, but the instructions told me to put them there, so. And you have a ladder, 2006 rock piece, and some flames, which looks cute. You have a ladder here, and then you have a logo with the bat symbol, which is really cool. And if I ever make a bat signal mock or whatever, I would be using that piece. You have a seat here for a minifigure, so I'll take Bruce Wayne. And there are no studs in there, but it's okay. He's decently secure. Well, he's actually kind of loose, but you can turn this around easy, but you're supposed to move this up and down in control. You have this to push out the net, like so, and have it trap a group of thugs. And you can easily put it back in by shoving it in there. Don't worry, it shouldn't be able to do anything. And then we have this old cannon that the Batwing and Batmobile share. And you just flick it, which I'm like this. And there you go. And you also have one more feature, which I'll get to later. All of these sections also connect like this. Is that how it's supposed to go? I think it is, but anyway, you connect them like this. You can take them out from there, but I didn't. Bats hang from there to give it more of a life. And this is a bat-filled cave, so you think that this would have bats in it. This section seems to be most people's favorite, and I can see why. So, this is to block out prisoners from escaping this cellar. This is like intruders of the Batcave, so let's put Mr. Freeze in there and lock them up. You have some more torches. You have 3 of these bar pieces, which you can move them if you really want to, but try not to. Just realized this wasn't here, so. Over here you have a bed for Bruce Wayne. I left him in the weapon tower. And you can take this off and have him do some sick weight lifting, like so. You have lights here, and then you can up here store the Batman suit here. I think you could, if you really want to, store others. So this, you don't have to maybe, well, I'll tell you in a minute. Then you can take out this, and if I get out Bruce Wayne, like have a more cup here, and then face the opposite way to Batman, and then turn this, and boom, he is Batman, Batman, and ready to kill, well, to punch the poor people with an animal mask. Reference to forest fire, anyway. You can store them if you really want to. You know, Bruce Wayne can just take them out and then put them on outside if you really want to. There is one problem I have with this build, and the biggest problem I have with this entire set, actually. If I just... Sorry, one moment. If I can... Come on! Come on! There we go. Now, the one problem I have with this entire set is... Actually, before I get into that, let me go get the penguin. So, you're supposed to put them on this flat tile, then you can pull this back, and watch. You can make them fall into the cellar, which is how they're supposed to get in, or through the sewer pipe here. Now, this part I kind of hate because, I mean, it's clearly there just to save up pieces and even costs. And it does give it more of a sewage feel, which I really like. Well, kind of like. But doesn't mean that the bad guys would escape there and they can tell Bruce Wayne's Batman, and this could even be the entrance to Wayne Manor. So how is he gonna get out? Like, yeah, like most people who review the set do question that, and I'm with them. Like, they clearly didn't think. They barely thought of it. I mean, I guess to some extent they did, but they should have thought about it harder. Now for the final section of the Batcave. Anyway, we have the spiral staircase, the biggest spiral staircase I have in my collection so far. You have 4 rock pieces back there, and if you can look there, you can actually have your minifigures step over and get behind. Which I'm not... should I do it? I think I will. You can just hide some stuff there, like resources, or perhaps minifigures, dead bodies, or something. And this one moment. Let me just... You have this rail here to keep people from falling. And here is the main section. So here we have the table with the bat logo, which has the bat phone, which could be for emergencies or for phone-related stuff, and an alarm for maybe to help signal that the phone's ringing, or just an emergency. And up here is empty, and you're supposed to hide the accessories of Batman here. So this is where he keeps them. I think it is kind of cool because no one would expect it, and yeah, no one would figure it out. And it's good on Batman's part. Even if no other incarnation of Batman would do that, but... And do I have all of them? No, I don't. Okay, okay. Make sure you store them carefully, because they may not fit, and... Okay. Surprisingly, that doesn't actually fit. I'm actually quite disappointed about that. How can it not... Maybe if I spread them out a little better. Okay. If it weren't for that... besides that one handcuff, it does fit. Wow, I think... Oh, that's odd. Okay, now it almost fits. And... this has a lot. It has... the sword, probably a reference to Ra's al Ghul in A League of Assassins. Maybe Azrael or someone else. Here's Joker's bomb piece, which two of those pieces were in Joker's first set anyway. Batman's probably just taking it to experiment on it. We have swivel chairs, which these pieces are incorrect, the grey ones. It's supposed to be black, but I only have one of those correct pieces. You can have two figures in there, Alfred and Bruce Wayne, or Batman and Robin, Bruce Wayne and Robin, whoever. You have two control panels, which have some radio stuff, maybe to make music or to listen in to stuff. And you have a detecting device, or whatever it's called. And then a tracking device, I think. Yeah, tracking device. Maybe that's sensing that the Penguin subs here, I don't know. You have a blue diamond here, which could be for Mr. Freeze or whoever's into diamonds. You have a magnifying glass and a sticker, which isn't in the best condition, but I don't have a replacement for that. It's supposed to be fingerprints for the Joker. Maybe he's trying to discover who the Joker is or figure out his crime. It has a mystery for a question mark for his true name. The light's reflecting, so I can't really show you. The numbers are 53320. It has 10 fingerprints. Signature Joker, and then on duty. I honestly can't read that, and from the camera's angle, you just can't either. And then you have the dinosaur, which is supposed to be a reference to the dinosaur in the Batcave in the comics. I feel like it's probably the most natural way to have it, or at least in a Batcave like this. And then you have the Bat computer. The stickers are custom made because the seller didn't have them. I just printed out the originals. They unfortunately came out in black and white, so I had to color them in, and I think I did alright, except for the Joker. I think I did quite bad on that one. And Two-Face's face, I should have done lighter, but I do think it does look good on its own. Not perfect, but... and you can tell that it was custom made, I think anyway, but... it has Two-Face's file saying Harvey Dent, so yes, it is Harvey Dent. Base unknown, so he might be a new villain, or Batman doesn't know where his lair is. Alias for villain name. Then for the Joker, we don't know who he truly is, or his base. And also, in the packaging, I can't show you right now, but these were actually swapped for some reason. Then you have Two-Face's coin, a reference to the coin in the Batcave. You had a coin piece for Two-Face in his set, but it was just a stud. Over here we have Joker's bomb and the Joker card. The card is a reference to the card in the Batcave, as well as the card that the Joker has. So if you really want to, you could have both of them really there, like here. Then you have the alarm showing the bat signal and got a silhouette of Gotham City, and then a map of Gotham City with a bit of the waters, and then Commissioner Gordon is being tracked down. Shame we never got him in Lego, or at least not in the original theme. It wasn't until 2013 where we got him in a set based on The Dark Knight Rises. You can also put the rope on here to get onto here or here. Now, about that feature before, for the rope, I just ripped it out. You can connect it to anywhere. Make sure you don't turn this, or try not to anyway. And then you can have a minifigure just whip on in, like... I don't know... Robin, maybe. I did use Robin on... I can't do it now with one hand, but you get the idea. It looks like he'll end sloppily for Robin, though. It also depends on the angle this is in. And you could... I've already said how you can change this for display, but you can also change this around. You It has to be on this harbor has to be on the left, and this area has to be on the right, though. But you can change the angles these are on. So, yeah. There is what this makes for a great display, in my opinion. And out of the actually, I'll get to that in a minute. Now, how does the Batwing stand connect? Now, I originally think it couldn't. Now, it definitely doesn't connect to here, the harbor. It won't work. I'm just telling you right now. I did see one person try to display it next to where the cell and suit chamber was. If you really wanted to, you could do here, but personally, I don't do it there. In fact, you could if you really wanted to do it here, but that wouldn't make sense because that means the villains could just go into the Batwing. So, seems like there's nowhere to do it. Or is there? There is one area that I think might work. One moment. The back. I mean, it would make it a little more hidden, and it does look cool, I'll be honest. I don't know if it fits, but... And even the Batwing is notably larger than the Batcave itself. It wouldn't really work because that means this will be covered with fog. So I'd say no, it really can't. But I'm assuming that you can like walk through here, and then there would be a fairly decent gap between this and the Batwing, and then you can go on the Batwing, and then it can fly off. I know this video is over half an hour long, which most LEGO reviews that I know of anyway are not that long, but I guess you could remember me as the dude who makes the longest LEGO videos ever. So, the pros are nostalgia, of course, makes for a great display, has some of the best things out of anything Batman, like the best Penguin minions, the best Alfred, in my opinion, easily the best Batcave, also. The 60s Batcave is probably second, 2012 Batcave is third, and the other two I just don't care about. And a lot of others. Oh yeah, and this piece will be great for the bat signal, and I like the stickers, and the negatives include this vehicle, but still good, is just good enough, basically. It's fine. There are improvements I want on the Robin figure, personally, and I also wish that Freeze didn't have that goddamn plug. And of course, that sewer pipe leads to way too many plot holes, and I also wish there was, like, an entrance to Wayne Manor in a way that this can connect to the Batwing to make it feel a little more complete and thoughtful. When compared to the other sets and the score, it's definitely one of the best in the theme. Would I say it's the best? Well, I can definitely say it's a solid contender. I don't know. I guess I'll give it maybe the same score as the Batwing set, 8.9 out of 10. I'm pretty sure that's what I gave it anyway. So I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this video, and oh wait, one more thing. I got the set gallery for all the sets, so going in order. Already got this one, this one, this one, this one. This one, of course, I now have. The next one in line is the Batmobile set. I'm actually going to skip that set, so consider it one of the videos that I'll never do, because there are no minifigures in it, and it's just one build, and the build is just a bigger version of something I already have, and it's way too big, and it'll take up way too much room. The only use still have are those bat signal pieces, but I can just buy them off of eBay or use the one in the Batcave or something. There's no reason for me to get it personally. So I'm going to pretend that it doesn't count as a set. So it's 12 sets in the theme and not 13. So I'm going to put an X on this one. So that leaves us to me, the actual next set, the original Arkham Asylum. Though that's going to be quite a long while, so you can expect some of these ones to be done in the meantime. And one of them was even already done before this video. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video despite its length, and I'll see you all later.